So, tricky first afternoon back at the office. Rob, that second half gives him and Wales something to build on. It's not a total collapse. They can say we drew the second half, we responded. But pre-game we said he had picked all his old generals. This was the emotional response, home advantage. So it is ultimately a very disappointing day. What are you expecting from Wales for the rest of this championship?
It's a good question. It's a matter of now, does Gatland want to start to try and have some small rebuild towards this World Cup? Or does he want to save face and try and finish as high up the Six Nations table as he can? There are some people in that Welsh team, I think, who are no longer international players.
But who's behind them? There's like a missing generation.
Yeah, but they've not given anyone any opportunities over the last few years.
But are you seeing anyone that he should be picking that he's not really?
Well, you see, it roots back down to the club side, and the provincial game within the country is rotten. There's no quality coming through. There's no grassroots rugby there. So, you know, on one side, it's hard for Gatland. He has to pick these players.
Yeah.
But then there's an argument higher up within the food chain and the WRU that they have to be doing more to improve the quality of their game across the country.
They have a whole host of problems.
We saw the once great Cardiff club come to play Leinster, and Leo Cullen puts out a group of players. I didn't know who many of them were. I had to go chase up who are these guys that Leo's picked, and they beat them by 30 points. You know, that tells you what Robbie's point is about behind the national team. There is rot and there is decay and there is neglect. Where if you come to Ireland and France, behind the national team is nothing but strength and well-developed and good structures. And that's what's hurting the national team.
But they have had trouble for a very long time in the provinces or the regions, and they've been able to get away with it because they've had a 25 or 26 or 27 or 30 players who could deliver at that level. They had a type of play in Gatty ball that worked for them, and they had an emotional investment in playing for Wales with a coach that could get great performances out of them. So, you know, you don't necessarily, it's not a long-term solution, Matt, I agree, but you can get away for a period with that sort of situation. Now, you know, where do they go from here? Joe Hawkins is, I thought, the one shining light for Wales in that game. Every time he touched the ball, I thought he was impressive. You could do a lot worse than a combination of Bigger and him as 10-12. I think they're good at 9 as well. There's definitely a number of areas where they're light on, but what I think we're going to see from Wales and from Gatty is doubling down on what his policy was today.
Yes.
And he probably can take from that second half enough from it to go, actually, I'm right.
Yeah. And Wayne Pivac, I think the thing that's proved, Saka coach, where's the problem? Wayne Pivac was not the problem. The system is the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the discipline as well. You know,
Their
defence was awful. They missed a crazy amount of tackles.
Well, kick a man when he's down.
Discipline was awful.
Okay. He was a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
No, I disagree. This is something that's come to soccer. We have got a systemic problem with Welsh rugby. We're not producing players. We lead Australia by 30 points and we lose in the last minute. It's the coach's fault.
You can't lose to Georgia and Italy either.
It's not the coach. But then you come back to Robbie's point. He picks the second 15 against Georgia to give guys a go, and they don't turn up for him.
Okay.
You know, so to me, okay, whether he was right or wrong, but that is not the only problem.
They got the old coaches union
spoken
here.
like a true coach.
Absolutely. Let's switch it on its head. Warren Gatland's not the answer today.
Well, not
you
yet.
can't have it both ways.
We'll see.
You can't have it both ways.
Okay.
Which one is it?
Media can have it 20 ways.
Yeah, that's right.
That's how it works.
You got the mic. I managed to victim.